Welcome to Triumph IAS. It's a daily mains practice question and answer series. This program is exclusively designed for UPSC CSE aspirants. In this video discussion, we will discuss UPSC CSE mains previous 25-year questions. Question number 1. Why did the armies of the British East India Company, mostly comprising of Indian soldiers, win consistently against the more numerous and better equipped armies of the then Indian rulers? Give reasons. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. The company became India's dominant power following victories at the battles of Plassey, 1757, One Wash, 1760, and Buxar, 1764. The main body of the answer should be: each of the company's three presidencies, Bengal, Bombay, and Madras, maintained its own army. The company troops' superior European training and weaponry enabled them to defeat Indian forces many times their size. At Buxar, 1764, for example, around 7,000 company troops defeated nearly 40,000 enemy soldiers. The company was quick to combine Western weapons, uniforms, and military training with Indian martial traditions. In a society where warriors were well respected, it could always attract new recruits with the prospect of good pay, pensions, land grants, and honored status. During many campaigns, due to a system of subsidiary alliances, the company's armies were assisted by the forces of Indian princely states. Conclusion of the answer is: these are the reasons why the armies of the British East India Company won consistently against the armies of the then Indian rulers. Question number 2. Critically examine the procedures through which the presidents of India and France are elected of. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Article 54 of the Constitution deals with the procedure of election of President in India. The main body of the answer should be: procedure through which President of India is being elected. Number 1. Nomination. The nomination of a candidate for election to the office of President must be subscribed by at least 50 electors as proposers and 50 electors as seconders. Number 2. Indirect election. President of India is elected indirectly by the members of Electoral College. Number 3. Electoral College. Electoral College consists of elected members of Houses of Parliament, Legislative Assemblies of the states, and Legislative Assemblies of the Union Territories of Delhi and Puducherry. Number 4. Mode of election. It is held in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of the single transferable vote, and the voting is by secret ballot. Problems with the procedure. Number 1. Proportional representation in the case of presidential election is a misnomer. It is good for the system takes place where 2 or more seats are to be filled. Number 2. Indirect election for the president is undemocratic as said by members of Constituent Assembly. Number 3. Single transferable vote is not in real sense, is single vote, rather every voter has plural votes. Number 4. Although we are a democratic country, but people are not directly involved in election of the president. Presidential election of France. Number 1. Nominations. Candidates must be nominated by at least 500 elected representatives. Number 2. Mode. The president is elected by direct universal suffrage, under which all French citizens aged 18 and over can vote, whether residing in France or not. Number 3. Direct vote. Mode. Votes are directly attributed to the candidates, and president is directly elected by two-round system, TRS, also known as round of voting. Number 4. Second round. In the second round, only top 2 contenders participate, and candidate with the absolute majority of votes cast is finally elected. Number 5. Final. The president is elected following the announcement of the results by the Constitution Council within 10 days. Problems with the French presidential election. Number 1. The French believe that more round of voting weakens the bond between the nation and its supreme representative. Number 2. If there is no top to, then more rounds need to be conducted, so more time and money get invested. Question number 3. Economic growth in the recent past has been led by increase in labor activity. Explain this statement. Suggest the growth pattern that will lead to creation of more jobs without compromising labor productivity. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Economic growth in the recent past has been led by increase in labor activity. As the access to education expanded rapidly through the 90s, the young started joining remaining in education. Hence, entrance to the labor force rose sharply to 2 million between 2004 to 5 and 2011 to 2012, just when the economy and job growth was booming. 7.5 million per annum new non-agricultural jobs were created over that period. Since then, better educated youth started joining the labor. The main body of the answer should be growth pattern that can keep job creation with labor productivity. The Ministry of Urban Development, MOUD, has a program called Amrit, aimed at improving infrastructure for small towns. Infrastructure investment by the government always creates many jobs. But the MOUD program does not take into account whether the infrastructure investment under this program is taking place in towns which have clusters of unorganized sector economic activities. Hence, an engagement between MOUDs and MSME is necessary to ensure that this happens. It will attract more investment to industrial clusters, which is where most non-agricultural jobs are. There are 1,400 modern industry clusters in India, and an additional 14,000 traditional product manufacturing clusters, like handloom, handicraft, and other traditional single product group clusters. There is a Cluster Development Program, CDP, of the Ministry of MSMEs as well as the Ministry of Textiles, which is poorly funded and could be better designed as well. Conclusion of the answer is, India may well be the world's fastest growing large economy, yet compared to the dream run of the noughties, now investment is lower, as is credit of take, capacity utilization in industry, plant load factor, and agricultural growth.